Hi, I'm Gavin Willis, and I'm on a journey to learn more about the Nooksack River floodplain and how we can improve it for fish, farms, and the communities that live here. Last time, we looked at Duffner Ditch and the history of individual projects along Bertrand Creek. Today, we'll learn about how we can tackle multiple problems at once, using integrated processes that bring everyone together to find solutions. Let's get started. We are here at Cougar Creek, which begins in Weiser Lake and flows westward into the Nooksack River. Over the past year, the Floodplain Integrated Planning team, or FLIP team, has been examining all the possibilities for restoration and habitat improvement on the quarter-mile section of the creek between here and the river. Today, some members of the FLIP team, along with the design and engineering team, are coming out here to take a look at the creek in person, talk with the landowners, examine all the possibilities, and come up with a strategy for the restoration and habitat improvement work. We are here with Christina Schoenfelder, engineer for Whatcom County, and you're the lead engineer on this project too, right?
Yep.
What were you hoping to get out of today, meeting here with the whole team?
So today we wanted to get our design engineers out with the stakeholders so that we could focus their efforts on designing the project that would best meet the objectives of all the stakeholders. So we had the regulatory agencies and the tribes who are looking at fish habitat. We had the landowners out that are, concerned about drainage, flood risk, and the farmability of their land. And we had, our designers out hearing that feedback and trying to optimize the design based on those sideboards that we got from those stakeholders.
This collaborative process is called a design charrette. The process brings all of the impacted parties together, along with designers, engineers, tribes, and permitting agencies to discuss problems and priorities, resolve conflicts and identify potential compromises, and map solutions that work for everyone. When we think about the project that's going to happen there, the restoration, the habitat improvement, how is that going to impact your ability to farm that land there?
Where the creeks enter the river, there's a gate there so that when the river comes up, the gate will shut and not allow that floodwater to come into our farm fields. So we look at this project as that floodgate's important for farming, and the one that's in there won't last forever. It's failing, it's old. So if we can replace an older, poor design with a newer, better designed floodgate that will benefit the farm for 50 years or maybe 100 years, right? So that will protect that farmland. But it also has the benefit of allowing fish to travel through. We're looking for multiple benefits now, where I think 40, 50 years ago, farming maybe we weren't as focused on the environmental benefit or the fish factor. We weren't even thinking like that. And so I think things have changed, and we're much more sensitive to doing things as we repair and do things, to do them in a way that we certainly don't want to hurt that. And if we can enhance it, we should do it.
So we're here with Michael, works with the Nooksack tribe. So when we're at a stream like this, what are you looking for in the stream as far as making it hospitable for salmon?
So this would be kind of an area where adults would be needing to move through to get to the spawning area, and juveniles coming downstream can hang out and rear and grow in these kind of sheltered habitat.
Awesome. Are they using this right now as habitat? Is that?
Well, when we've done surveys here over the last summer, we found juvenile fish downstream of the floodgate, but we didn't see any upstream of the floodgate, which probably means that is a passage barrier for fish, moving upstream. So landowners have said that historically there were other species of fish using it further upstream. So, it seems like a great candidate for passage restoration.
Great. So putting in a new floodgate then is going to open up this habitat for fish to start using it again.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with floodgates is sometimes they're closed and sometimes they're open, but certainly it's better than the situation now where, you really have very limited passage through it. So it'll be a big benefit for this creek.
What does your role look like in a project like this?
I do permitting for in-water and near-water construction to ensure that there's protection of the habitat. As part of that, there's a long design process that we're typically involved in with the project applicants in order to ensure that the way that the project is constructed is good for fish.
Gotcha. So then transitioning here to more of a fish-friendly floodgate is going to open up miles of new habitat that's been blocked off for a number of decades.
Yeah, we're working on a project to open that up and create better passage.
Sounded like in the conversation there's a whole bunch of factors to consider. You're looking at the culvert length, the location of the levees and setback.
Yeah, so kind of where we ended up landing on today is recognizing that we're probably going to have to lose some stream length, but we're going to offset that loss with a lot of benefits to fish accessibility to the upper reaches of the channel. The farmers are going to have some loss in the farmability of their land with levee setbacks and trying to realign the culvert so that it doesn't erode the levee. But they're seeing benefits because they're going to have a new culvert that will drain their fields sooner after flood events so that they can get in and farm their fields quicker in the spring.
What are the types of things you're taking into consideration when you're trying to come to these compromises and make decisions about moving forward with this?
There can be some give and take. I'm willing to give up a few acres to put in a much better system that will allow fish to flow. There are some things that we would like to have done on our farm. We'd like to fill in a ditch, but I need the fisheries to okay that. And but all these groups have to come together and say, yeah, the overall benefit to everybody outweighs some of the trading that has to go on within that to make it happen.
After the site visit with the tribes and stakeholders, the engineers captured a few last points of data before taking all of the feedback and perspectives from the visit and incorporating them into a final plan that provides benefits to fish and farmland, along with improved flood management. The final plan includes changes to the levee, the stream, and a nearby ditch, along with installation of a new culvert and floodgate similar to the one installed at Duffner Ditch.
The Cougar Creek project has got a flood control element with the levee work that we're doing. It's got an element of enhancing agricultural practices with better drainage with this new culvert. And there's a fish component with the floodgates, improving fish habitat, and also some stream enhancement work for habitat downstream.
Seems like that would be tougher to manage. Why would it be better to run the projects at the same time?
It's complicated, but it makes for a much more efficient implementation because you're avoiding having potential conflicts that have to be resolved either after construction or at a later stage of design. There's a lot of moving parts and pieces, but when it all comes together in the right sequence and the right timing, then it just results in a much more functional project.
I think a lot of people who have been involved in some way in construction see permitting as a barrier to them achieving their goals. But it sounds like with the design charrette process, permitting kind of is involved earlier and becomes an integrated part of the design. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, I do, because it really does help the process move forward. It helps people understand more of what we're looking for from a regulatory sense, and also what's going to be best for the habitat. I like to do that on the front end. It saves time, it saves money in engineering and consultant costs, and it gets everyone on the same page early.
So in past projects similar to this one, what are some of the long-term impacts that you've seen in the creek's tributary system?
Well, there's been several of these that we've done. In many of those, we're doing these auto-regulated gates that open and close, and it really does improve the overall passage within those systems. This is opening up habitat and providing better access to these areas, and will benefit production in the long term.
I think that it's important that when we see creeks like this that look like ditches, that we recognize that they can be important salmon habitat. When we can come on with these integrated projects like this, there's a much better likelihood of success if people are from fish and from farms and from flood are working together to get to the same bird outcome.
Do you think the lessons learned in this process could be applied to a larger scale project?
I do. I think Cougar Creek, the drainage is rather small. What we're doing is really a rather small project, so the challenges of coming to a consensus are much smaller. Say we do this over a basin-wide situation where we have the same type of discussions, it's going to be more difficult, but I really don't know a better way to resolve some of these issues than just coming together. My hope is that we do have really good success with the Cougar Creek project and that we have had an opportunity to build some trust with one another, and so that we can move forward and really start to make some progress on some significant issues.
Not only does the design charrette process avoid bureaucratic delays by getting everyone on the same page early, it also encourages project designs to go beyond the bare minimum to meet permitting requirements for fish improvements, while incorporating perspectives from everyone involved. Join us next time as we imagine what the future might look like when the design charrette process is applied to larger scale projects. We'll see you then.